Welcome back to Music Theory Logic. Andrew here, and I'd like to begin by apologizing for not having a video out yesterday. The week, especially prepping for the holidays, got away from me, but I figured I'd hop on here on Christmas Eve to do a festive cover. I am not in Christmas gear. I couldn't find my Santa hat from last year, but I am in my black sweater. I'm going to do a rock and roll cover of Carol of the Bells by John Williams, most famously from Home Alone. And I was going over this with some of my students, mainly on the piano, but I then was playing it on the guitar, and I thought like it would sound pretty cool distorted. And I have come across some versions like this, but I haven't been listening to those, and I'm going to try to recreate this from the very beginning. So let's go ahead into the Logic session. All right, so here we are, and let me just confirm that YouTube says we're live. All right, cool. We are live. All right, so let me know if you have any questions in the comments. The first thing I want to do is consult my score, which is here. All right, so I will play through it on the guitar. Guitar players do read treble clef. I am not the greatest sight reader, but I can sight read pretty well. So I will play through this. Cool, so that is basically what it's going to be. I envision some power chords in the left hand, but the first thing we want to do is get our session ready. So notice the time signature at the beginning. Time signatures are ways of like breaking up measures, and in essence, this is 3/4, so that means there's 3 beats per measure, and each beat's a quarter note. In most popular songs, we're in 4/4, but not all, so it's useful to know this. And then lots of music from movies like this or other older songs, or we do find other tempos. So this is referred to as a rhythm in triple meter. So triple meter is going to be slightly different in Logic. I'm just going to move this down to 3/4, and I'm actually going to want to make sure I'm at the beginning when I do that. 3/4, cool. Now if I turn on my metronome, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, then we want to set the tempo. Let's see what this sounds like. Let's see what faster, 126. All right, that'll work. Now, anytime you're recording audio, you kind of want to get your tempo right from the beginning, but we are in the modern era, and we can always flex or like change the speed of whatever audio you're working with. I have done that in the past. All right, so I already have my input set up. On a side note, I'm recording through my Apollo, Universal Audio's Apollo. I have an Apollo 8 Thunderbolt era. And you are hearing it going through their Marshall Stack emulator. I am recording it dry, so I'm not going to print that signal on it just because we'll have more control over the tone in the end. But I'm going to try to keep this pretty concise. So let's record the beginning part, and I'm going to play through it a couple times, and because I'm probably going to make some mistakes. So here we go. 2, 3. Already messed up. Now I want to double check my tuning. Really kind of annoyed with this guitar right now because I took it in and got it set up, and I wish they had told me that it really needs a refretting. So frets on guitars, as you get setups, a lot of times they grind them down, especially if you have any sort of like impact damage on the fret. And so it basically can't go any lower while still maintaining intonation. So let's look at our signal. We have it. I'm gonna go into console since it's easier to do this and turn up the gain slightly. Not that much. All right, cool. Take two. Cool. Now, one thing you might want to do, and I probably should have done before, but in Logic, you can go to low latency mode. If you're doing what I'm doing and streaming off the same system you're tracking into, that can be really helpful. One great thing about having DSP or digital signal processing capable interfaces is that they take the processing of the amp is actually done on that unit, so it's not bogging down my computer whatsoever. Just want to make sure that our stream is still good. Yeah, we're still rocking. All right, so now I'm gonna let's, I guess, chop out the good take, and we're gonna want to set an amp setting as well. Turn off my guitar volume so you don't hear that amp hum buzz. All right, so once again, this is going to be clean. It's not going to sound nearly as cool, but I'm going to choose a pretty simple setting, clean it up a little in the mids, give it a little more top end, and then I'm going to go into just a Logic built-in amp for the sake of making it easier on my computer. I'm going to go for a distorted sound. Perhaps turn your systems down. Consider yourselves warned. We also could audition the same amp that we were just using, which is a Marshall Plexi Classic. Let's take it to stereo. All right, cool. So I'm going to track along to that. And for fun, since I do like the sound of that amp, the way that in console you switch it is on the right, UAD record, that's going to print the signal onto it. And that'll be pretty obvious visually as well. So this is now going to be the left hand from this piano arrangement. It's basically got the same bass line the whole time until we get to that E run. We've got an A, G, F, E, A, G, F, E, A, G, F, E, A, G, G, F, E, and then when it starts to change, I get the E, then back to an A, then an E. Those are tied, so technically I'd be holding that for 6 beats, but I'm going to take that and add a little bit of rock and roll flavor to it, so I'm going to play some chords on top of that, so power chords. So I think I actually played the first part short. So I'm actually going to give it another 4 so that I can get through the chords. All right, here we go. Cool. All right. Mix that a little bit. So right here, for those of you that, just on a side note, that are purely producers or just solely working on a computer, it's not going to be identical to your own playing. And then for those of you that have followed the channel that are guitar players or other kinds of musicians, I wish so much that I had jumped onto computers long before I did. I've talked about it before, but my intro to computers was circa the M-Box from Pro Tools, so still pretty early. But again, I would have started with like Fruity Loops at the same time I started playing guitar. If I knew that, I'm getting up there in years, so I'm not even sure if that's totally possible. But let's hear this. Cool. So I could make this a little longer, I feel like. We could, so I think that'll be our ending. So would we have another 16? So helpful to use your looping as a ruler. So I'm going to put that here. I'm going to take this, loop it up. I'll have to add some fades, but let's record another guitar. So I'm thinking some eighth notes would be cool. Remember to turn on your volume. All right. So I'm only going to get one cool. Now, another fun technique would be like right here. Get started up an octave. All right, let's see. Let me think about this. And again, double check my tune. So for me with guitars and setups, like I don't really even care as much where the action is. I don't care about a lot of elements of a guitar setup. For me, I really just want a guitar to be able to take like a beating through playing and stay in tune. I'm always amazed and envious of the guitar players like Eddie Van Halen, rest in peace, who could just like absolutely work his whammy bar or Steve Vai and somehow stay in pitch. If any of those of you out there are like experts on guitars, wouldn't even call myself an expert, but I'm obsessed with the playing portion of guitar, and I would be open to any suggestions on getting my instruments to hold tune more. I'm wondering if a different bridge works. Stratocasters usually have this kind of bridge setup. Many years ago, I had this nut roller put in the Stratocaster because I was using the whammy bar, and I would always come out like sharp or above pitch. So anyway, let's try to record a double on top of this. Does it go? Okay, so I gotta play the A position twice as much. All right, here we Man, that was close. Let's do it one more time. So I kind of messed up at the end, but I feel like this layer could fade out before. So I feel like something right here could be kind of cool, like rising up. kind of doing this, like, lots and lots of rock and roll players have done runs like this. The basic fundamentals. So I'm bending the B string up to pitch with the E string. Then I'm going up the scale. All right, let's see if I can actually do that. All right, so I think it works. All right, so if I did, let's see, let's go back to our score. Another great thing about written music is that once you understand the language of how this stuff is done, it kind of helps for visualizing. So if like I went up a fifth from this, I'd be playing a G, F sharp, G, E. Right, is that right? G, F sharp, G, E. So let's see how that harmony sounds. I don't really like it, so let's try a lower. Just kind of experimenting at this point, so let's try adding that underneath it. All right, I don't like it. All right, so that'll kind of complete the guitar portion of this. Now let's see how far we can get. So I'll go back to my console, turn off my amp, mute that signal. All right. So if you have any questions, I don't know if anybody's even tuned in. I need to get better about being regular when I go live and posting about it. But once again, the holidays have been a little hectic. I don't think I've even talked about it on the channel, but I am now a dad. And so this is my first Christmas having a family of my own. And it is a completely different experience. It's a lot more stressful and a lot more things to do. But it's also fun, and I'm excited to seeing the little man open up his gifts. All right, so one thing that could be helpful is to add some MIDI in here. So just for fun, I will do that. The default instrument. Let's see how fast I can do this. So. So same thing. It's gonna be 8 times. Cool. Then we're realize I'm missing a whole part of the melody, actually. All right. Let's see. Well, this will just we'll skip that run. What happens kind of in between these sections that I'm realizing now that I'm thinking outside of how to play it is this run down. So. Smaller so I can see our score here. All right, so should I just so this is the part we're missing. This A G F E E E D C D D D E D. So 4 measures. Let's just do it. So chop all this stuff. Move it to the right by 4 bars. But then this right here is our outro. So I'm gonna have to move this another 4 bars over. Duplicate this channel, reset our channel strip. I want to mimic that same tone so I can just plug it in there. So I'm going to go back here. I want to be able to hear the guitar. I'll hear the Plexi Classic, but we're going to go back to UAD monitor. All right. And then note-wise. Let's see if I can do this. Come on. Oh, it's not working, guys. Alright, so I'm going to try tracking it over here. That's the closest. One more time. I think the time before that was solid. So I'm getting that. All right, there it was. Let's go. All right. Sorry to those of you that the rumble of the guitar that are disturbed by that. All right, so now one good thing is that this that is exactly the same. Okay, let me finish out that MIDI. On a music theory standpoint, most of this was in the key of A minor, but right here we are borrowing, like, the first half is from E major, so that is kind of like an even more aggressive version of a dominant chord, playing the dominant scale run. Very, very well executed. And those of you that don't know, you should know, but John Williams is without a doubt like one of the best composers of all time. It's hard to argue with that, especially of the modern era, and especially in the world of film composing. E.T., Star Wars, Jurassic Park. Need I say more? Home Alone. It's kind of mind-boggling to even understand that this isn't like a classic Christmas song. All right, so let's add our chords. Something happened in our repeat. This stuff should really go before. I don't even know how I did that. All right. Final thing that I kind of need to complete the octave up run, glad I didn't put the guitar down, is first record the tone the same way. So turn back on, turn on UD record. All right, so I am going to do that scale run outside of the main track so that I I got that. Just like that. All right. Take that down to here. All right, the next thing when you're chopping audio like that, you want to really be sure you add fades in. So I'll do some cross fades. On a side note, I always get comments how I do this so fast. For this portion, I have a key command set. Go back to my really first intro to Logic Pro videos, and I go over how to do that. Super helpful, especially to stay efficient. Cool. All right, let's add these chords in. Or we'll add a bass line so that we can put the save this. Carol of the Bells live cover. All right. Let's see. I don't need my score anymore. All right. So let's do a little bit of sound pick selection. Tiny bit of mixing. So one thing I want to do is I want to add some spread just by putting these layers slightly in different spots. You'll really notice that with headphones. Some of our reverb bussing. Now, I wouldn't have thought I could do like a release ready mix and master in under an hour on the channel, so I'm gonna get this like decent sounding, a place where I'm somewhat content with it, and then we're gonna call it, because it's Christmas Eve, and if you're like me, you've got parties to get to, presents to wrap, life to live. All right, so here's some reverbs. Some of the tuning is a little bothersome to me. Once again, that's the intonation on the guitar's fault. I just could have grabbed another instrument, but I've just been used to that. It's not. Perhaps some of you are like, "What? What's he talking about? It sounds awesome." But that is all full disclosure. I am feeling a little bit that way. One thing that highlights the intonation being off is using these virtual instruments along with it. I could try to repitch them, which potentially would help. Now, let's try Indie Bell. my favorite sub. I use this on most of these live production videos just because it saves me a little brain power, just going with something tried and true. It does have that funny name, Punch in the Balls, because it's got a lot of punch in that low end. All right, let's hear that. Way too much. Second time. Now for fun, we could take this a little bit in the same direction as the original, bringing in a slight choir sound, just like a choir pad. Dream choir. And then that's the same MIDI as our bass line. Everything or compress everything. Really worry about the mix a ton, but I am going to do it on our main cool thing Logic has is it has this like AI drummer. Now, I don't really know what this is gonna do with weird time signatures, just for fun. Let's see what this sounds like. All right, so I'm not sure if anyone is hanging out or has been in, but please let me know if you have any questions, even if you come across this video after I am done being live. I'm always happy to answer questions, and I guess we do not have anyone. So all this stuff has been really good practice for me and my nerves going live being on the record, all those things. Hopefully this was fun. It was a very different sort of challenge for me. I will leave you with listening to this cover from the beginning. I do think with some extra time, I could definitely make this sound pretty cool. I'm excited about it. And again, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, happy time off from work, whatever you're celebrating, make it a good one. If you find this stuff helpful, you would help me out a ton by subscribing to the channel. I would love to have you on the team. Without further ado, here is the track that we just recorded and wrote. And by wrote, I mean figured out how to play. Obviously, this is John Williams. Here we go. Awesome. Hopefully you enjoyed that. See you next time.